One, two, one, two. Mic check. Yes, it's a Freestyle Friday. Welcome back, Emos, the Witness Show, episode 23. Y'all, we're growing live. Check me out, y'all. This is the F.I.L.L. Show, F.I.L.L. F.I.L.L. Instead of what the fuck I look like. Welcome. Good morning, America. We're here to hit you with that new political perspective. Like I told you, I am Emos, your host, your referee, your guide. Bring you all the light news and all the topics of the day, from politics to sports to entertainment. We'll dive deep into all the issues in this new 2021, this new administration. As you know, we've been through a lot. We're now about a month into the Biden administration, and so we got a lot to cover. I want to dive into the stimulus. I want to dive into a lot of little foreign policy initiatives, new updates, little tidbit, a little freestyle here and there, little issues that's going on in local society. So join me. Here we go. So let's get into it. Let's jump into it. Let's get a little background music going. Again, like I said, I'm Emos the Witness. I want you to hit that subscribe button. Like me on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. You can catch me downtown every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 10 to 11 a.m. 120 East Market Street, Wave 1 Media. Catch me downtown with two of the hardest working media gurus in here in the city, Malik and Wyatt. Come down here and get you a show. Again, I am Emos the Witness, and I am a new host, a new fresh perspective, a local citizen here in Indianapolis. So I said, let me get out here and let me go ahead and start a show. Let me go out here and amidst all the confusion and misinformation we've been seeing in politics the last few years. But if you've been watching longer than that, it's been going on for decades, right? This country is beautiful, but at the same time, it has its issues. It has its ups and downs, and we gotta just, as a people, we have to come together and at this moment in time restore it. And one of the best ways to do so is to lend a voice, lend a helping hand, lend your credence to what's going on. Again, in November we experienced an election that was pretty much rampant with speculation of corruption or tampering. We never really got a full, clear solution on that. And a lot of Americans, maybe about 74 million Americans, are coming to grips with that now. We're licking our wounds. We're monitoring this new administration closely. And me, myself, I said, let me go ahead and get a show. Let me speak truth to power as I see it. Let me express what I've been witnessing the last 4 to 8 years and how I came to this point. And together, you and I come together. We can be witnesses together. We can read through these articles, read through these issues, these political topics, whether it be local, nationally, or worldly, and we can make decisions for ourselves. We can decipher instead of letting people tell us what to think and how to think. It's important more than ever, right? As political freedoms are being eroded, as we see during crises, during pandemics, during international or even national hot button topic issues, we see an attempt to erode our constitutional values, our traditions. And is that a good or a bad thing? I think that it's always going to be a bad thing if you do it deceptively. I don't mind having a conscious debate about how we could fix America for the better. No one said capitalism is perfect, but our Constitution is a strong document. It's a working document. It's a document that was designed to stand the test of time, and the way we interpret it is again, it's more important now than ever, right? We have a Democratic Party that is controlling 3 branches of government: executive, legislative, and they're passing laws, and we have on the judicial side, you have judges that are either partisan or just absent of their duties. I mean, you recognize the Constitution. You recognize the election of 2020. A lot of the judges didn't even want to take the cases. A lot of judges didn't even want to make a decision. They wanted to pass it down to lower courts, an example, the Supreme Court. And then you had partisan judges who ruled or did not rule. And whether or not, going back into the election, and whether or not, that's irrelevant or not, what's important is that we address these matters and strengthen each branch of government, right? So that when we go to the voting booths in 2022, in 2024, or 2023, we know exactly what to look for. We know what politicians in our corners, and we know the issues front to back. So again, as your host, hit that subscribe button. Like me on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. I am Emos the Witness. It's the F.I.L.L show. Stand for what the fuck I look like. Because we're tired of the nonsense. We're tired of double talk. We're tired of this what appears to be a 2-tier justice system. But we see blatant corruption now. This is getting worse, you guys. Like I said, I got to come with this intro. I got to come with this, you know, mindset that we have to come together and unify as a country. But I don't see that happening with some of the action being taken by the current administration, some of the rhetoric that we still see in media, and some of the actions we still see in big tech. You know, freedom of speech, right to bear arms, right to protest. You know, the tampering down, the censorship. You know, the corporate greed. You know, we have to fight against these things more than ever, or at least push for equality in these realms. All the while making sure the narrative is correct, making sure history isn't rewritten, making sure investigations don't go or fall by the wayside, which appears to be happening right now. Your man Hunter Biden has his own memoir coming out. That's sure going to give his PC a boost. All this stuff happens when you have a new administration. When you have new leadership take power, you have investigations fall by the wayside. You have claims of voter abuse fall by the wayside. And that's what's happening. That's why I said, Republicans now are licking their wounds, trying to figure out what's next, where to turn to next, what to do next. Because obviously we see that the past is not the past, and history is being rewritten. So I encourage everybody to do their job, do their part, lend your voice, do what you can to participate in the American experiment, in this melting pot. This is a great country. I'm not telling you to bash it every day. I'm not coming on this show to tell you to not support your current leader. But what I'm telling you to do is step up and be more vigorous as Americans, be more vigilant on things you're being told, how things are being expressed to you, and the issues that affect you and your family going forward in the future. Okay? And to get into the news of the day, we're going to get into some of the various topics. Me in particular, we're going to talk about the stimulus. I like to talk about a lot of the major topics of the day, and then, having some tidbits. But the stimulus, foreign policy, and currently what the Biden administration is up to as far as some of the laws they're passing, and what's Trump been up to. Of course, as you know, he has an impeachment trial coming up. There's been rumors or not rumors or noise about him maybe starting his own political party. What's that hold for Republicans? What's that hold for the Democrats? And I want to get into that too here at Emos to Witness, the F.I.L.L. Show, episode 23. We're growing, y'all. We're getting there. I got a lot of work to do. Definitely. But you can catch me downtown every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 10 to 11 a.m. Wave 1 Media, 120 East Market Street. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Like me on Facebook and Twitter. We coming live, y'all, direct. Unedited. So you can hear all these slip-ups and all these stutters and stammers until we get going. But again, I want this to be a refreshing show for you. This isn't a show for me to just preach down to America, to you. I want you to join me. Join that chat. Hit me up on contact page. Website's coming soon. We want to be witnesses, you guys. We want to witness what's going on and lend our voice, and not just be told what to think and how to speak, how to act. There's no more. We've done that in 2016. We were surprised. We've done that in 2020, and we were surprised. So let's stop that now in 2021. So yeah, I wanted to get into the first article. First article from The Guardian. Senate passes a budget plan to allow Biden's $1.9 trillion COVID relief package without Republican support. Now, of course, we've been seeing this over the decades, over years, of presidents using presidential powers, executive orders, or different loopholes in the laws in the halls of Congress to pass bills without another side support. Now, we need to stop this habit. We need to stop this trend. I don't know what party is going to be able to stop it. I know we've been talking about term limits for a long time. We've been talking about various things that hold political people in power longer than they should. And then we see laws being passed that are being forced down our throats, whether good or bad or indifferent. But it just does not have the full support of the American society. And that's what we constantly been headed towards. We've been headed towards division. We're divided as a nation. You got 74 million Americans that voted for Trump. You got about 80 million allegedly supported for Biden. and we're at a crossroad. Where's the unity going to be? Where's the unity going to come? I mean, that's hard to tell when you have Congress people being censored or being removed from committees. When you have, see what you have precedents being set that weren't set before. And there's been a litany of those things happening over the past 4 years. When you look at the Russian investigation, you look at how you can send fake FISA documents to the FISA court and get away with it. That's going to continue. When you review the FBI tactics during the Russian investigation, how you can attack someone's family, that's what's been happening. When you can lawyer someone down to the point where they just come broke, they're in debt for life. They got to sell their homes. You know, entrapment. What happened to Carter Page and George Papadopoulos? You know, these FBI tactics only show themselves over the last 4 years, but now it's blatant. It's what I sense is a growing authoritarianism, and it's just being more in your face. Whether it be big tech, whether it be, you know, investigations of two, you know, politicians who are too big to fail themselves, right? But what about the ordinary Joe? What about him? You know? So that's what we're fighting for. We're fighting to stop these precedents, these issues becoming long-term status quo. This is a given. Yeah, we will attack your family. We will force you to sell your house. We will censor you. You know, and in this case, we can pass bills without Republican support, and Republicans have done it before too. Presidents have done it before too. You know, but we got to be able to expose these various tactics and stop them in their place. You know, because long term it's going to help us out, right? So as I stated here, you know, the Senate has passed a budget, which is going to lead to COVID relief bill, which would be that 1.4 trillion bill where we get the 1,400 stimulus check promised to us by Biden. And see, the thing is, you know, the COVID, which is what this budget leads to, it leads some stimulus and some COVID funding. But the issue is that, you know, with COVID, you kind of wonder, like, is it getting better or is it getting worse? Like I just mentioned to you guys last episode how we had a reduction in the cases or the deaths in Indiana. We had an overall reduction in numbers. We had a new vaccine coming out. That's one shot, one dose. So, you know, we started seeing a increase. I mean, it's just, you know, so optimism going on. But, you know, look at this article from The Guardian. You see that we record more than 5,000 deaths in a single day. We added, we added 49,000 jobs as Biden aims to further relief. So, White House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she wanted the chamber to pass Joe Biden's coronavirus relief package by the end of the month. So that's the end of February. You see how long this is getting drawn out? You know, they said the Americans need relief, and we see 41 executive orders being signed, but this relief is just getting drawn out. You know why? Because there's political ploys in play. There's political brinksmanship. There's power play moves. There's other agendas being placed in this bill. Not to mention that this bill was passed like 5:09 in the morning last night, amongst a lot of other standalone bills that were forced to kind of make politicians, Republicans and Democrats, take sides on certain issues that really were irrelevant to what so-called emergency relief that we need. But that's how it is. That's how it is in this political game. You know, it's a constant. What's the underlining message? What's the underlining purpose? You know, you're not going to see a stimulus check you guys till about April. I'm trying to tell you, it's going to take there's a lot of pushing and prodding. There's a lot of things going on. I don't really see. Even Chuck Schumer said that in a previous quote. But right now they're focused on impeachment. They're focused on a lot of things that don't really pertain to the American people. Right now you have the Democrats just kind of restoring power to where they want to see it on a foreign policy perspective, on a domestic perspective, who they're putting in office, who they're appointing. All those things are currently going on behind the scene. Who's being added to committees. And you know, one thing I did find that was pretty telling or pretty interesting is that Bernie Sanders wanted to be Labor Secretary. He didn't get that. Ocasio-Cortez wanted to be on the Energy Committee. She didn't get that because of her support for the Green New Deal. So it just shows you that the Biden administration is more moderate than what was led on during the elections, right? We thought they were owned. We were told they were owned by what? The young socialistic Democrats, the Ocasio-Cortezes and the Omars, right? But we don't see that to be the case. We see that the old guard still has their power, and they're showing you examples of that. They never lost it, and you've seen that through the Lincoln Project, through the various policies and various changes they make foreign policy wise, and we're gonna get into that too. Okay, there's some things going on in Yemen, there's things going on in Russia and China that we need to address when it comes to this administration. But again, like I said, like my page on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. I am Emos the Witness. This is the F.I.L.L. Show, episode 23. What the fuck I look like, ladies and gentlemen. And you can catch me downtown every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 1:20. I'm from 10 to 11 a.m. at 120 East Market Street. We're doing this live, and we're going to keep on expanding and growing as a show, and I want you to join me. But yeah, like I said, a lot going on in foreign policy, a lot going on in politics, a lot of changes. Like I said, you see a lot of precedents being set, and one, of course, is this issue you guys probably been recognizing, been seeing regarding Marjorie. Let me find this. Kind of put my articles up. I got my man Malik pulling articles up for me today, but of course, today's article regarding Major Marjorie Taylor Greene was recently removed from her committee assignments by Republicans due to her outlandish views or conspiracy theories and various things she said over the years in the past, including support violence against Democratic leaders. Now, none of that stuff is I don't condone any of that stuff. But again, at the end of the day, it's freedom of speech, and I think you should be able to say what you want to say. And definitely, if you're saying things from a perspective in which comes from the support of your constituents, from people who put you in power. Now, what something she said is just downright ignorant and downright gullible in a sense that she probably read a few things in the past and she just outright supported these theories, and some of these theories could have some credence to it. Let's just kind of read some of the things that she may have supported in the past. But that's the point that we're trying to make, though, is not what she said and that whether she should have said them or not, but whether or not she should have been removed from the committee. But let me get into that. Before I get into that, let me just kind of find something she may have said. She said some things about 9/11. And like I said, she retracted a lot of these things that she said in the past. This is before she was elected. But I want to read a couple. This is going to be the first paragraph because I want to bring a name up. The House of Representatives has voted to strip Republican Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene and her committee assignments following uproar over her past incendiary comments and apparent support of violence against Democrats. Thursday's vote, 230 to 199, with 11 Republicans joining, and I bet you those 11 Republicans, I wish I knew. I mean, they may not be around in 2 years. I'm trying to tell you, we're going to see what's going to happen in the midterm regarding Republican elections and who remains in power based on their support and who they supported during the Trump era. But anyway, the vote comes a day after the House Rules Committee advanced a resolution put forth by Rep. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Democrat from Florida, to remove Greene from her assignments on the Budget Panel and the Education and Labor Committee. See, this is Freestyle Friday. I can almost go anywhere with politics today. But man, when I see a Debbie Wasserman Schultz, man, that lady she is probably the Wicked Witch of the East or the Wicked Witch of the West. You know what I mean? Like, this lady is the same lady that gave Donna Brazile. Well, she cheated Bernie Sanders in 2016 out of his rights for the Democratic nomination through various cheatings, various cover-ups. Her herself was actually, I won't say impeached, but she was removed from office for voter integrity issues, for cheating in various elections. She gave Donna Brazile the questions, the debate questions before the Clinton and Trump debate. This lady is is bad for democracy. She's bad for the people. You know, I told you we're going to do exposés on a lot of these politicians from the past. We're going to revamp and review a lot of things that happened from 2016 to 2020. You know, a lot of false claims, a lot of misinformation, a lot of bogus articles and bogus investigations that resulted in just a lot of distractions, which did nothing but hurt the American people. And this lady was at the center of it, you guys. Debbie Wasserman Schultz. You know, the thing is, I've been kind of trying to figure out who I'm going to start with, how I'm going to roll out these politicians, these exposés, and I need to start with her. I probably should start with her. You know, I thought about starting with Kamala Harris, Clinton. You know, I thought about starting at the top with Biden, but you know, Debbie is a good candidate too. We're gonna we're gonna do exposés to a lot of these candidates, the current congressional cast and characters of past investigations. The format of this show is still growing, and this show is called Emos the Witness Show. Y'all can check me out downtown, 120 East Market Street, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 10 to 11 a.m. This is the F.I.L.L. Show. What the fuck I look like. And that's what it's all about, y'all. We're tired of being looked at as idiots, as pawns, as tools. We're not thinking for ourselves. I mean, just think about all the positives that's going on in the world today that we can actually lean on. You know, a lot of people are investing their wealth now. A lot of people are participating in the stock market. You know, the last administration led the highest historic, stock market run in history, in U.S. history, and people are taking advantage of it. So I mean, again, I want us to be an optimist when we listen to this show. I want us to be optimistic when we go through these issues and we expose these policies and these politicians for who they are, along with these celebrities and these business tycoons who want to mold and push society without, our support or our input. Just want to put their Dr. Evil spirit on us. We want to hold them accountable. And but back to the news though. This is another situation. Like I said, this is Marjorie Taylor Greene. She made some incendiary comments. I think she was a QAnon believer, which is a wild conspiracy group. She has some issues about 9/11, where she kind of said a so-called plane hit the Pentagon. So a lot of those things, people, and then like I said, she liked a few things on social media which supported democratic violence. So, as a result, Republicans and Democrats, we took her off committees. And this is the precedent. But now going forward, before you're elected, after you're elected, politicians can go back and look at your past history, your past comments, and they can penalize you when you're as a congressman or congresswoman, despite the people who voted you in office. You can be judged and punished by your peers in Congress, and then you can be reprimanded, and then you can lose power or your voice lessened as a result. And that's the first time that's ever happened. So so that's what we have to look at. What's the underlying consequence when these hot button topics or these issues come arise? Again, I don't condone anything she said or anything she did, but again, you're taking away power of people with this maneuver. So I want to bring that to light. And that's the things we got to kind of address. So again, when your politicians go up for re-election and you see that what's going on, and you're more informed to make a better decision. But yeah, that's. But again, I want to say optimistic. I kind of want to go into. I want to jump around too much, but I want to jump back into COVID and the stimulus and things like that. But I want to get to COVID. Let's give you the most recent stats. Can we pull up the stat numbers, Malik, real quick? I don't think I have them up on my screen. There we go. So yeah, as of today, worldwide, we're looking at 105 million cases. I don't think it's even changed that much. It's been updated. I think it has, but 105 million cases total in the world. 58.4 million people have recovered, and we're looking at 2.29 million deaths. In the United States, we have 26.7 million cases. There's been an increase of 127,000, And we're looking at 456,000 total deaths, an increase of 5,116, like I told you, 5,000 deaths per day. Again, I think we have a lot to be optimistic about, and we're going to keep that going. Like I said, we have vaccines in pharmacies now. White House has planned to send millions of vaccines to retail pharmacies. We have Johnson & Johnson. They applied for emergency use authorization. I'm going to pull that article up real quick. Johnson & Johnson has applied for emergency use authorization for the COVID-19 vaccine. So again, that's positive. This Johnson & Johnson has that one dose option. And again, you know how I feel about vaccines. At the same time, let's read a little bit about this. This is the thing that has me kind of tripped up. Is that about a third guy said it is shown to be 66% effective overall in preventing moderate to severe COVID-19 4 weeks after the shot is administered. Johnson & Johnson said the vaccine was 72% effective in the United States compared to 66% in Latin America and 57% in South Africa. Now, however, the vaccine is 85% effective in preventing severe forms of COVID-19, and the efficacy of the treatment increased over time, the company said, with no cases in vaccinated participants in 49 days. So, this vaccine seems to be a little bit less effective, but I mean, I wonder why it's based on region though. Like 72% in the United States, 56% in Latin America, 57% in South Africa. So I don't know. It seems like it's regional. Regionally, it has this very, very levels of effectiveness. But this is another shot. Again, let's at this second paragraph says, in a statement released released Thursday, the company said, if emergency use is granted, it aims to supply 100 million doses in the first half of 2021. Unlike Pfizer and Moderna, Johnson & Johnson's Janssen vaccine, called Janssen vaccine, can be stored for at least 3 months at 36 to 46 degrees Fahrenheit, compatible with standard vaccine distribution channels, the company said. Now, that was a major issue. A lot of vaccines in the past were kind of expiring. They couldn't stay refrigerated that long. There's been a lot of mistakes also, as well as various labs kind of tampering or even just kind of mishandling the vaccines in the first place from Pfizer and Moderna. But this is optimism right here. We see that we have the vaccine being administered to pharmacies, and we have another vaccine on the way. Don't forget about the therapeutics. And we just continue to fight this thing again. So you have a hospital system that is based on making money rather than supporting or being able to handle a pandemic. We're gonna have these issues. But you look at the optimism. A year later, despite the deaths and the cases and the rising cases, we're starting to see some light at the end of the tunnel. And you're starting to see, not to see, but you think about all the red tape we had to go through. A year later, we have 3 vaccines, and we have therapeutics, and we have a rollout plan going. So that's one thing I do fault the Trump administration for, is the messaging and the way they handled this pandemic. There's been a little more TLC involved, a little more communication, but I don't give anybody credit. I just really feel like there's some successes and there's some things we can learn from. Definitely when it comes to the virtual learning and the educating of our children. I just hope that we take these moments and we learn from them as a country. Just like we need to learn from various other issues that affect our constitutional rights. And that's the whole reason for this show. It's to promote unity and to hold people accountable and no longer let people tell us how to think and how to live and how to walk and talk. Emos to Witness, I am your guide. I am your support base. Come and join me. Like my page. Support me on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Website coming soon. But you can catch me live downtown every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 10 to 11 a.m. at Wave 1 Media. Not too many people doing this live. And like I said, I've been, so you're getting a perspective from a Midwesterner, African-American male, family married man who just like I said, disgruntled with what I've been witnessing over the past 8 years. So, like I said, I was a Democratic voter for every election I could have voted in. I protested 2012, and I said, let me find a new, fresh leader, a new, fresh voice, and I picked Donald Trump in 2016. And I watched this gentleman, I watched this leader, no matter how soggy his character could have been portrayed, or all these claims of who he was character-wise, I watched him lead a country in a manner which set America first, and that's what I wanted to see. I was tired of seeing us in these endless wars. I was tired of seeing us. I'm tired of seeing the corruption or even the political double talk with no action. Just fed up, and I was voting Democratic for decades or for years, and not seeing anything come from it. So I turned independent, not a Republican at all. They're just the same. They're just the same, if not worse. So I'm a Trump supporter, and it's based on policies and based on leadership, based on wanting to give it endless wars, wanting a strong economy, wanting to clean up a system that is rife with old politicians who line their pockets up, who came in as teachers and come out millionaires, and their districts are still just downtrodden. I look at Baltimore, I look at Chicago, I look at Los Angeles. I'm okay. Yeah, they're Democratic red cities, but Democratic red cities for decades. It's not something it's not a claim that's just been talked about over the past 4 years. These cities need to be Detroit. These cities need to be addressed. They need to be healed. I mean, a lot of, like I said, a lot of society, a lot of things that go on in this country need to be reviewed, need to be updated, need to be addressed. But like I said, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You keep chugging it, because it's a great country. It's a great system. 2/3 of the world tried socialism, and it didn't pan out too well for them. Okay. So, like I said, we're gonna keep on fighting. We're gonna keep on pushing, make this country a better place. But we gotta end the corruption. We gotta end the double talk. We gotta end the nonsense that we see each and every single day, that we hear from the rhetoric that we hear from our politicians. It's just time to move on and be adults about what we're witnessing with our leadership. And we didn't see much of it. We don't know too much about our leadership. We know that we have the same guard in office. We have the same status quo in office. With Biden coming back, nothing new under the sun. Like I said, Bernie Sanders wants Medicaid for all. There's been like a little slowdown on that topic. Ocasio-Cortez wanted to be on the Energy Committee. She got pushed away. Bernie Sanders wanted to be Labor Secretary. That got pushed away. So again, you got that moderate, you got that strong Democratic establishment still showing that they're in power. And then you got the Republican establishment showing themselves they're also in power by how they constantly sabotaged the previous administration and how they showed their true colors during the 2020 election. The Mitt Romneys came out, headlines. Ms. Sass came out, headlines. You saw Mitch McConnell with double talk. You saw Marco Rubio be attacked. You saw Rand Paul be attacked. You saw a quietening of the House Republicans. They were confused. Even they said they were getting bashed by the media with no Republican leadership support. Trump fighting for his lives, fighting for voter integrity. At some point, he was fighting to win the election, and then at some point, he was fighting for voter integrity. And at neither point did Republican established leadership step up and support him. That was House Republicans did, but not Senate establishment Republicans, not the big wigs. They showed their power. And now you see through various maneuvering. Now you see Trump is trying to set traps for Republicans, and he's setting forth the attempt to take over the Republican Party in 2022 and 2024 and beyond. And he has a decent, strong chance, a decent path. He has 74 million Americans in his corner, that are upset, that are ready to push back and fight. It might be more than that, and they're ready to use their power to vote some of these Republican establishment long-term limit leaders out of office. Now, will that happen? Who knows? Will Trump form his own party? Who knows? did the voting irregularities, did the Dominion voting systems have so much effect that now going forward, all the elections going forward may be kind of lopsided or shaky because it hasn't really been addressed, and maybe they think it's okay. So maybe there's nothing wrong with the voting system. Maybe voting integrity, but we don't know. We don't know. But it's just kind of strange. Not strange, but it's kind of telling, or when you see that the Democratic Party has, I would say, poor leadership, but they're in power. And then you have the Republicans who they're fragmented, but they have great young leadership that can't get up they can't move up the ladder politically because of established Republicans like Mitt Romney and Ben Sass, Jeff Sessions and holding on to power, Mitch McConnell. So yeah, you see great potential leadership. I see some real Paul Revere, some real George Washington, some real Thomas Jefferson in that young House Republicans, amongst the Republicans. I like Jim Jordan and the McCarthys. And then you look at the Ocasio-Cortezes, you look at the Ilhan Omar. I can't even know if I said that name correctly, but you see those individuals in office. In power, and they have a lot of power, but you just worry about what kind of policies, what kind of leadership they're gonna bring. But you can tell it's like a molding for them. It's like a planned rise for the Ocasio-Cortezes. You expect to see them, move up the ranks in office, at some point, because it's all by design, it seems. But I'm saying again, establishment Democrats and establishment Republicans are pretty much, to me, they're in cahoots with one another because they have the same foreign policy agendas, they have the same corporate agendas and the same political agendas that they've always had. And we have disruptors like a Trump coming to power. You start seeing true colors, and you just see them. Right now, you're seeing the guise of power is being revamped and being not revamped, but being taken back. They're reestablishing back their power. And so you see a suppression of the liberal and the extreme sides of the parties, or the young leaders of each party. So when are we going to end that cycle? And it starts with us lending a voice, holding our politicians accountable, and using our rights at the voting booth, and going into that voting booth and making the right decisions. But we got to educate ourselves. So we'll do it together on the Emos Witness Show. Hit that like, subscribe button on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Website coming soon. Please join the chat. And as we grow, you better lend a voice to American society and American various topics, and not be pushed away or swayed or your voice drowned out by big tech or whoever. So I wanted to get into the politics of things. I wanted to get to kind of what the Biden administration's been doing. And as I stated before, Hunter Biden is to release a memoir in April. And this is what I mean. Like I said, this man was one of the hottest topics in the 2020 election. We wanted, where's Hunter? Where he spotted it, he's out. He's here. He's in your face now. He was at the various inauguration activities, ceremonies, and events. He also now apparently has a book coming out about his life at age 30-something. I don't know how old he is, but he has a memoir now. And of course, it's all a PR stunt. It's all to mask and cover up all the negative press that he was receiving. Of course, he's currently under investigation for tax issues. But when are we going to address Ukraine? When are we going to address the China contracts? This man sitting up in the White House next to the most powerful man in the world, and that's his dad. How comfortable do the American people have to feel, in order to say, oh, that's okay. But when you see stuff like this, again, we see, a PR stunt to talk about his drug addictions and all his issues that he's had. The book is called Beautiful Things. And of course, like I said, he's actually 51 years old. So let me go. Let me read this little paragraph. The younger Mr. Biden, who turned 51 on Thursday, is an attorney and a businessman. His service on the board of Ukraine Energy Company during his father's tenure as vice president has drawn wide criticism and was a central issue in the first impeachment of President Donald Trump. He faces a federal criminal tax investigation for which he has denied any wrongdoing and has drawn scrutiny for his business dealings in European and Chinese tycoons, some of whom were eager to be associated with Biden's family name. You can't do that. That's abuse of power. Okay? I mean, there's emails, there's documentation, there's whistleblowers, his right-hand business partner even came out and exposed him. Trump even had a video, Biden even had his own video telling you what he did to get the former Ukrainian investigator fired. He called it policy. No. Even if it was policy, it was poor practice. How many policy issues did we have to? How many phone leaks did we have to hear from the Trump administration of his policies, of his practices? That lasted weeks or months, and then end up being nothing to do about it. We can't even get anyone to look at Biden, or look at his son. We can't even get no one to turn left, just to check and look. What has he been doing? Squelch the American frustration over these topics. If there's nothing much to do about nothing, then why not investigate them? For the sake of appeasement. Let me know my vote counts. Let me know that when there's an investigation of a high, wealthy official, that it's going to be looked at objectively and thoroughly, not dismissed. It'll go a long way to unify the nation. It really would. It really would. So Biden and his son are still pushing that PR initiative, And you look up about 2-3 months later, you want to be talking about what? Russian investigation who? FISA courts who? By Ukraine, China, what? What do you mean? What about it? I know I got my $1,400 stimulus check though. All these distractions. For what? Power grab, you guys. So that they have more control over your life. That's what I witnessed at Emos, the Witness Show. Episode 23, the F.I.L.L. Show, the fuck God look like. Okay? Hit that like, subscribe button. Let's get into these issues. Let's get into these topics. Let's see where we can expose the truth, where we can find it. What are they up to? So like I said, like on the foreign policy front, there's been a lot of changes going on. Like I said, we've been peaceful for the past 4 years and beyond. We've been, a peaceful nation. And then we have the Biden administration. What are they going to do? What are their actions telling us? And, I got a couple articles here that like I said, just follow from this past Wednesday. Biden halts Trump's order of U.S. troops cuts in Germany. So that's one. We had troops being withdrawn. We've had, under the Trump administration, we've looked at trying to end these wars in Afghanistan. And we see a halt here. We see a halt in a review of the Afghanistan war. The peace treaty between the Taliban has been halted under further review. And here we have German troops being halted out of Germany. Our U.S. troops are going to stay there for a little bit longer. President Joe Biden, according to Associated Press, U.S. News & World Report, stopped and planned a withdrawal of U.S. troops from Germany that was ordered last year by the Trump administration but had never actually begun. Speaking to the State Department on Thursday, Biden said the troop pullout will be halted until Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin does a review of America's troop presence around the globe. Austin, he said, will ensure that our military footprint is appropriately aligned with our foreign policy and national security priorities. Well, all those priorities have changed, right? We had, like I said, peace through strength, strong negotiating deals, treaties, peace treaties between Israel and a couple of Middle East countries. Like I said, we had a peace treaty with the Taliban that was on the review. We had cuts in troops in Germany, trying to bring troops home, and now that's all being halted. The North Korean policy is being under review as well. South Korea is asking the Biden administration to stick to the current Hanoi Treaty deal between the United States and and North Korea, but we don't know how that's going to go. It seems like we're doing tougher sanctions on them to get them back to the table, and we'll see how that will pan out. So you see some foreign policy changes going on in the Biden administration that we got to look out for. It looks like we're going on a war footing. It looks like we're trying to find an enemy to fight. So I'm always looking for that. The new administration always try to start either a war or try to start with peace. Either a war starts or peace continues. And so I'm kind of watching out who that enemy is going to be. I think it's going to be Russia. I think it's going to be Russia. It's going to be our enemy. But we'll see how it goes. I think China's too strong. China's simply too strong at this point, and we're going to start appeasing to them. They're going to be in that, So we're going to find an enemy, and I think that's going to be somewhere in Europe. Here's another article. Biden ending U.S. support for the Saudi-led offensive in Yemen. Houthi rebels. This is a direct attack at our ally Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, of course, have been attacking the Houthi rebels for the past 5 years. We've been supporting Saudi Arabia with strategic arms. I know Yemen was actually a biblical name for Yemen is Sheba, Kingdom of Sheba. That's pretty cool. I want to dig into that country a little bit more, a little further. Queen Sheba, but yeah. Like I said, we need support for the, and that war is kind of one of those war of attrition. This hasn't really been a winner or a loser. It's been a lot of deaths and despair, a lot of hunger. So it's kind of good to kind of stop support at the same time. What does that hold on the foreign policy front? And before I continue, I want to take a quick little break, and we're going to kind of close this out and kind of get into it as well. Here at the Emos to Witness Show, F.I.L.L. Show episode 23. I'm your host. I'll be right back. One sec.
Monkey.
And I'm back, y'all. Sorry for that short little break. Emos to Witness coming to you live downtown at 120 East Market Street every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 10 to 11 a.m. It's the F.I.L.L. Show, the fuck I look like. We're diving into politics again. Let's get into it. Like I was talking about Biden, and again, a lot of foreign policy changes that I'm seeing. I'm just looking for signals and signs of where we're headed. Are we taking an aggressive stance? Are we going to be more peaceful? Or continue that peaceful trend? And I'm not talking about leading from behind like the Obama administration. I'm talking about peace through strength. Trying to renegotiate deals and just try to bring our troops home. Are we keeping down that track, staying close to our Israeli-Palestinian deals and our peace treaties? So right now, I don't know. For right now, I see a lot of review, a lot of halts and review from this current administration. Like I said, Germany troops, our U.S. troops in Germany are staying there. We're ending our support for Saudi Arabia battle against the Houthi rebels in Yemen. We're doing a review in Afghanistan, and look like we're increasing our sanctions in North Korea. So I don't know. We're gonna find out soon who our enemy is gonna be, or we're gonna be a peaceful nation, continue our peaceful trend. And it looks like Saudi Arabia might be another future enemy because, like I said, Biden has been blasting the administration. I mean, the Saudi regime for years, and or at least during this past election. But taking away the support, Saudi Arabia has been kind of conciliatory. They've been kind of like we support any kind of peace initiatives we can because I guess this war was draining. This war, against Yemen, its proxies Iran. Iran has been supporting Yemen, in that battle, and it's been a standstill, similar to what's been going on in Syria. So, and of course we sent troops to Syria recently. It's heating up. It's heating up. We're gonna find out soon enough what this administration has in store for us, on the foreign policy front. But I reckon that wars have various consequences, and wars can spur and stir economies. This can make or break us. I'm a little nervous because I feel like on one hand we're a country that's definitely divided, and also I feel like we're a country that's kind of losing its wits about us, and we're losing the holds on various strands of traditions of constitutional values that are being eroded, and this is not another time to go any kind of conflict, any other kind of country, or any kind of world war. So we just got to kind of make sure we watch out for these things and hold these politicians accountable to avoid these things from happening in the future. And it's all about the actions. It's all about the actions. It's all about what's being pushed. And one of the things that Biden said is that this war has to end. It's a humanitarian and strategic catastrophe. I just wish that he felt the same way about Libya. I really do. Because Libya right now is a total failed state, and just like the Yemen conflict, the Obama administration supported initially Saudi Arabia, going on the attack, and it's got us nowhere. So I'm glad to see that Biden wants to end this support, but it doesn't end the war. He's pulling back on strategic weapons, but he's still supplying Saudi Arabia. But you look at what happened in Libya, it's a total failed state. I mean, there's actually slavery going on in Libya openly, and it's directly due to the Obama administration's policy. So I just hope that under this review, you take a time to review Libya, and you take time to review a lot of the past mistakes you made as administration. I mean, a U.S. ambassador was killed in Libya, and that's the first time that's ever happened, if I recall, in U.S. history. And a lot of people have not been held accountable for that. What happened in Benghazi, and that's another point that I make, that there's a lot of investigations, a lot of things that get swept under the rug or not fully addressed, and it doesn't lead to nothing but a bigger pile of shit to clean up. And you couple that with Americans who want to answer that's not getting answers. Couple that with an administration that's kind of skeptical as far as its leadership. You kind of wonder what's in store for the future of America. So like I said, I try to keep an optimistic stance, but sometimes the bullshit's just too thick. And we gotta address it, America. We gotta address it. We gotta hold truth to power. We gotta kind of watch these things together as witnesses. So hit that like button. Yeah. So with that said, like I stated, there's some foreign policy changes, and again, you got, like I said, all these changes, and you still got the House, the Senate still focused on impeachment, still focused on trying to impeach the president. Which I predict he's going to be acquitted because he's protected under freedom of speech. There's nothing that happened on January 6th where he provoked or promoted people to go out there and do what they did. All that stuff was spontaneous from a natural protest. 5 people were killed. That shouldn't have happened. And we all feel sorry for their losses, and we all pray for their losses. But these people were supporters of, not necessarily Trump supporters, but they're supporters of this country. And it's it's important that we gotta watch out for how history portrays that event, and and what that does for the one half of American people who've been shamefully labeled as terrorists for their inability because they won the protests. And now you got troops all over the nation's capital. It's boarded up. You can't. I mean, it was just an excuse to bring more troops to the city. Are the politicians really that scared of their own people? So, a lot of changes are happening under our noses, and it's under the guise of what I guess fear or just various things, various issues that really are distractions in the long run in the whole scheme of things. So we want to make sure we keep things on focus, on track here at this Emos Witness Show, the F.I.L.L Show, episode 23. Fuck I look like. So before I close out, I want you guys to have a great weekend. It's gonna be very cold. It's Super Bowl weekend. I want you to enjoy the festivities. I think they can't stop that boy Mahomes, but Brady is. I don't know who's gonna win, man. All right, this is last. Okay, Malik, who you got, man? This is the last. Now you gotta cast your vote. You gotta cast your vote.
I would go. Dang.
Bucks, the Chiefs.
I want to go with the Chiefs, but if I was betting, I'd probably bet for Brady.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like the feel-good story is Brady, right? And then Mahomes can continue his run after that. But I think they want. I'm gonna go with Brady, man. They're playing in Florida too, right? So yeah, I'm gonna go with Brady as well, for sure. And I want you guys to like I said, despite all that's going on in the world, I want you to stay positive. Just take this weekend to enjoy some football. Get your mind off of things. I'll be back on Monday live. Just trying to grow as a show. You grow with me, and me and my team, and we'll start making some headway, getting some real clarity on these topics and these issues, growing as witnesses. So I want to thank you for your time, and I want you guys to have a great weekend. Again, I'll see you on Monday. Emos to Witness episode 23, and I'm out.